Hey there, Tim and Air, doing my back at you. So today I wanted to show you what to do with this and what to do with this. If you have a bunch of batteries, I have 15 batteries and I have a bunch of chargers. Think I had nine chargers total. I'm going to show you what to do with these. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. Doesn't cost you anything, and I'll catch you on the end of the video. So I found some wood that was laying around my shop, and I decided to use that, and I'll put the pieces, the sizes of these pieces in the description and the supply list in the description as well. It really doesn't matter what type of battery charger you have. I had all DeWalt chargers, so that's what I used. And basically what I'm doing is trying to make holes for all the cords for all the chargers. And I'm using I found out that a tape reel, electrical tape reel, was about the same size of the cord end where it plugs in, and I wanted to make sure that that would fit. So I'm labeling everything, the number of chargers, the number on the charger, and then I'm also corresponding that to the area where I put the screws on. A trick that I learned a long time ago was to take, and if you take a roll of masking tape, and it doesn't matter what color tape you use, and you put it on the back of the charger, you can take a pencil and kind of trace where the outlines of the holes for the screws. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm just pressing it on there, getting it tight, and then I'm just using the graphite on the pencil to mark the areas, and I'm going to stick that piece of tape onto the wood and then put the screw basically right in the center of that area. And once I get all 6 chargers done, basically I'm going to repeat this process for all of the chargers until they're all transferring the marks to the wood and then putting in the screws. And that way, if I label the chargers and also where the cords go, 3 of these chargers have a different area where the cord comes out, and 3 of them are alike, and then the other 3 are alike. So the cord doesn't come out of the charger at the same exact place on all 6 of them. So I have to basically put the chargers on there, and then I'm going to go back and mark all the holes where I'm going to actually stick the cord through the wood right there. And I found that I used a 1.1/8" paddle bit to make the holes to shove the cords through. It's just barely bigger than the cord end that you plug into the wall socket. And what I did was I used a surge protector inside the box to plug all of the cords into, and it worked out perfectly. So on this segment, I'm actually taking and I have like 15 batteries. So a while back I purchased these covers that go over the clip part of the battery, and you can use these also to mount them on a piece of wood or something. So I used those, and I'll leave a link to those in the description. I think I purchased them off of Amazon. I think for like 10 of them, it was like $5 or $10 or something. They weren't very expensive. So when I was putting the batteries on, I realized that I had, on some of the areas, I had the batteries too close to each other. And another thing, what I did, so I had to move the batteries kind of apart, a little further apart. And one thing else I noticed is I didn't want to go look around for screws, and I used what I had. So I would suggest, if you make something like this, that you use short screws that barely go through the wood. I use drywall screws, so I had to use the oscillating tool to actually cut them off, which was kind of a real pain. But again, I was just using what I had at the time, and I didn't want to wait and go. I just had the time to build the box, and it only took me like an hour to build the whole thing. So I'm basically just cutting off. And the reason why I'm doing a voiceover on this is because I was making a lot of noise with the oscillating tool and the sawzall to get all the screws off from the inside. So when I shoved the cords inside from the chargers, it wouldn't mess up the cord and get electrocuted or something. So it was pretty easy. And you can see at this point I used a 1 1/8 paddle bit to make the holes where I shoved the cords through. Now, this stuff isn't an exact science. I just kind of used what I had at the time, and you can see I used those battery holders to put them on the wood, and then the chargers are like 9 inches apart, I believe. It's kind of personal preference. If you want to make one of these, you would just kind of build it to your liking. Like I said, I just wanted to build it and get it done, and so I had something to put my batteries and chargers on, and it worked really well. So basically, I'm just having to cut off the ends of the screws with the sawzall and also the oscillating tool, just because I was lazy and didn't want to go look for different screws. And you can see I had to really reach down in there, which kind of a pain. So note to self, if you're going to do something like this, just make sure you get the right screws. And then I found a piece of wood to go on the bottom of the box and on the top of the box. That was the bottom piece that I put on, and it wasn't any kind of real expensive piece of wood or anything like that. I just used what I had, and then the top piece I did actually cut. I think it was 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, because this box is the rectangle. So I was able to cut that off with my circular saw, and then I found a handle that I had in some of my junk piles, and I just kind of save stuff from now and then. So I had a handle that I used, bought a couple extra when they were on sale, and I used a handle, and then I'm not even gonna put hinges on the lid. I'm just basically screwing the lid in. So when I'm done, and I just have to unscrew it if I need to get in there, which is not a big deal. You can see I'm kind of putting the chargers on and getting them pressed in there. And the 3 fast chargers that I had are going to go on top, and then the 3 little slower chargers, I think they're like DCB 115 and 112s, and then I just shoved the cords through. So the 112 is a little slower charger, and then I think they have like a 107 that's slower than that as well. So I wanted the fast chargers on the top. It wasn't too bad. And then I finally got everything together. You can see I lined up the holes for the screws. They're not even really in the center. I just put them where I felt I had the time, and made the lid, and then I'm going to paint it. One thing I noticed, that when I was looking for the paint, and maybe somebody could help me and tell me in the comments, I wanted to paint this DeWalt yellow, and I have not been able to. I haven't really looked that far, but I have not been able to find the DeWalt yellow paint. So if you are able to make that, or if you think it's able to be made or purchased, let me know in the comments. And then here I just actually found some wheels that I had laying around the shop, and I didn't hardly purchase anything except for the charger, the battery holders, and of course I had the chargers and the batteries and all that stuff all the wood and the screws and everything I just had laying around. So I basically made the whole thing out of scraps. So I'm putting the last couple of wheels on here, and they worked really well. It spins. The box spins. I'm calling it my tower of power, and it spins really well. And if I want to, now it does weigh, with all the batteries on there, it weighs about 40 pounds, which isn't horrible, but I just wanted something to put my batteries on and be able to move them around. And I have it kind of stored right now on top of another toolbox. And you can see I'm kind of just spinning around to kind of show you how easy it is to move around. So now I've got 3 batteries charging on this. The only thing that I did do is I wanted a switch on here so the multi-plug is coming out of the box. Got it plugged into here. This actually has some USBs. I can plug a phone in here, and this is mounted on there as well. And then I've got the 3 fast chargers on the top level, and then the 3 a little slower chargers. The DCB115 is a faster charger than the DCB112. So I've got the 3 112s on the second line, and then underneath here you got some bigger batteries, 4 and 5 amp hour batteries, and then I have some of the smaller batteries right here, the mostly 2 amp hour batteries. I've got a bunch of those. But at least now I have a switch, and I can charge at least 6 batteries at one time if I want to. I don't want to run too much because I've got my freezer hooked into it as well. So that's the only other thing that I did, and I just screwed the top on. And anytime I want to get in here, I just unscrewed the 4 screws. They're actually labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know where the screws are. Put wheels on it. Now it rolls around. There you go. I just put it up on the top of the table so I could move around without, because I need to sweep in here. So I took everything off of the tower of power, and I've got 1 coat of paint on it now, yellow paint. I was trying to find the DeWalt color, but it's more of a, DeWalt color is more of a orangey yellow, and I wasn't able to find that. So this is yellow. It just happens to be my favorite color. Not sure why, but I took everything off of it, and now I'm getting it painted up. And after I get another second coat on here, I'll put the everything back on. Again, it's nothing fancy, but it works for me. So if you know where I can get some DeWalt color paint, or at least something very close to that, I'm sure I could probably take a drill and have them match it, but I was wondering if they actually made DeWalt, actual DeWalt color paint. Let me know down in the comments and let me know what you think about that, because I was kind of wondering myself. So I think it turned out pretty well, especially since I didn't, have a lot of time to make this. I just had some extra time, and I finally got all the batteries put back on it. I did have to take the battery holders off a couple times and realign them so they were all in the same line and get them all lined up. I think it turned out pretty well. And then basically what I did was I had a cord keeper thing, plastic cord keeper, and I screwed that drilled a hole in it, and then put a screw through it, put it in the box to actually hold the cord for the power supply outlet. And at least I can still plug stuff into it, which is pretty cool. And all in all, I think it came out pretty well. It was fairly easy to make and didn't really cost me that much, and I had a lot of fun making that, even though I was just kind of doing it little by little and trying to figure it out as I went along. But I think it came out pretty well. Out of most of my batteries, I think I have a kind of a half and half. Half of them are like 4 and 5 amp hour batteries, and then the other half is the 2.5 amp hour batteries that you get with most of the tools that you buy. And sometimes you can find them on sale, and that's why I have so many batteries that come with the actual tools. So, and then sometimes I buy the tools bare. So I think it turned out pretty well. I appreciate you coming along for the ride, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So I appreciate you coming along for the ride on my Tower of Power. Couldn't figure out what to do with the chargers for the longest time. I had so many of them. I actually gave one to my wife for something that she has, gave one to my mother-in-law for something she has, and I still had an extra one left, actually. I still had an extra one left. I really enjoyed making this. I wanted to do something like this. I saw a picture on Pinterest at one point, and I wanted to try to figure out how to utilize my chargers that I get with all these tools. And if you've been around for a while, you know how many DeWalt tools I have. So that's why I ended up with a bunch of chargers. I appreciate it if you go down there, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you get notified when I post a new video or go live. This is Tim and A, or Two, back at you.
I'll be back.